This is an emergency broadcast of Brad is a Bad Person. My name is Lachlan. We're back again for another fucking episode about that fucking child rapist, Jeffrey Epstein.
I think that was pretty succinct.
Yeah, they tried to silence us, but we're back. We're talking about it
That's
again.
right.
We're not going to go away.
Yeah.
Clintons can't silence us.
We're not afraid.
It's a big story, and new developments keep happening all the time. Like
That's
I told
right.
Lachlan
It just keeps evolving.
I told Lachlan last week, we got to do a follow-up. We got to do another episode on Epstein. But since I said that to him, there's been like another 5 things that have come
So
out
much more stuff's happened. It's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
Our season is finished, but we're back just for this, baby. We gotta keep the people informed because it's just the world's elites. Just fucking pulling strings and doing whatever the fuck they want. They're above the law, and we gotta stay on top of it.
Yeah. I think, Jeffrey Epstein has become a household name of late, which is great, because if there's any chance we can use this spotlight to pile on the pressure and get this investigated properly, then we've got to do it now.
That's right. Something needs to happen. Someone's got to do something.
Yeah. We've got to get Ghislaine Maxwell. It'd be really nice if we got Prince Andrew. It'd be pretty good. I don't think we'll get Bill Clinton, but I think he's way too far above. But yeah, I think we need to hold these people accountable. And,
I agree 100%. However, I am very cynical. I don't think anyone's going to face any consequences for any of this.
I tend to agree with you, Lachlan, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very upsetting to me, but I think I'm just being realistic about this whole thing. Anyway,
this is one of the issues I think that like social media and having people able to post whatever they want online is actually working to our favor, and it's clear that if those in the legacy media outlets had their way, this would just be another story that rolls away, and everybody forgets about it. But it's because of social media and because of people writing blogs and doing podcasts and all this stuff that they keep talking about it. Like, everybody wants to talk about this. People on YouTube are making videos about it.
Yeah, we won't shut up about it.
People making podcast episodes about it. People making blogs about it, tweeting about it. There's memes about it. Everybody wants to talk about it, and people are forcing the legacy media outlets to cover it and make sure that we're not going to let this go away. And it's because I really think it's because of all this pressure that people have been putting on that Prince Andrew came out and gave that interview, which he thought was going to clear him, but it's actually made things a lot worse. It's shined the spotlight even stronger on this whole issue, and
much worse.
Yeah, so I think...
But the Queen cancelled his birthday party, so it's okay. He's been punished.
Yeah. You've been a bad boy. You don't get to celebrate your birthday. Let's just go for a horse ride. Fuck. Do you think the Queen needs to be executed as well, or just Prince Andrew?
Yes, but not because of this whole Epstein thing.
I think she's on the way out.
It's just because she's a monarch. She should be executed anyway.
Right. Well, we've got a few things to cover.
Imperialism is a flawed system.
Oh, really?
We've got a few things to cover where, we're going to talk about the hunt for Ghislaine Maxwell, Prince Andrew's interview, obviously. There's a whole controversy with ABC News quashing a story about Jeffrey Epstein in 2016 and the fallout from that.
There's news involving the prison guards. There's all the fucking updates on his autopsy. There's all sorts of shit going on. But let's start from the start. I think we need to address what happened. What was it? 3 years ago? The story that ABC had and hid.
Right, but I think before we get into it, we should just tell people we have made a Jeffrey Epstein episode before this, obviously. So if you don't know anything about Jeffrey Epstein and you're like, why are these guys talking about this? We're going to assume that you've listened to the first episode, so we're not going to recap the whole Epstein saga all over again. So if you're not up to date on this story, you don't know anything about it, go and listen to that first episode or do a bit of research. But we're going to be talking about the latest developments, the post death.
This is an update to our last episode. That's the required reading. Our last episode on Epstein.
So as Lachlan said, we should talk about the ABC News story first. So,
and that's Amy the American Broadcasting Company, not the or corporation, not the Australian Broadcasting Corporation. Just in case anyone was confused.
Yeah. So, Amy Robach is a ABC news anchor for ABC America, and she was embarrassed by a leaked video of her talking to a producer about ABC quashing her investigation into Epstein. So, this clip was recorded in August, and it was leaked shortly after. And she's talking about when she was doing a story on Jeffrey Epstein in 2016. So just, to get the context, Lachlan, do you want to play that first clip?
I've had the story for 3 years. I've had this interview with Virginia Roberts. We would not put it on the air. First of all, I was told, who's Jeffrey Epstein? No one knows who that is. This is a stupid story. Then the palace found out that we had her whole allegations about Prince Andrew and threatened us a million different ways. We were so afraid we wouldn't be able to interview Kate and Will that also quashed the story. And then Alan Dershowitz was also implicated in it because of the planes. She told me everything. She had pictures. She had everything. She was in hiding for 12 years. We convinced her to come out. We convinced her to talk to us. It was unbelievable what we had. Clinton. We had everything. I tried for 3 years to get it on, to no avail, and now it's all coming out, and it's like these new revelations, and I freaking had all of it. I'm so pissed right now. Like, every day I get more and more pissed because I'm just like, oh my God, what we had was unreal. Other women backing it up.
It's such bullshit because they killed the story because they were worried, we won't get to interview Wills and Kate. Why the fuck do you want to interview Wills and Kate? It's not news. They're not newsworthy people. They don't do anything. They're fucking professional doll bludgers. I think that's what pisses me off the most. That's what pisses me off the most.
Everybody loves the royal wedding. It's.
I could almost forgive killing one story to get access to a better story or a more important story, but they killed this incredibly important story to get access to a fluff piece. What's their baby's name going to be? Who gives a fuck?
Oh, look how cute that baby
was running
looks
an international pedophile ring.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. And, she makes she doesn't make contradictory claims, but ABC, apparently, talking to her, made contradictory claims. First, they said, no one knows who Jeffrey Epstein is, so why should we run this? And then
Which is bullshit.
Well, yeah. Obviously, people know who he is because he's been convicted. People like us know who he is. Most people who are horrified by this sort of stuff know who he is and have heard of him before. But even if you haven't, the story isn't the story because of Jeffrey Epstein. The story is the story because of Prince Andrew, because of Bill Clinton, because of Alan Dershowitz, all these other people that he's connected to. It's like,
absolutely.
This guy I listened to who said, this wasn't a story because of Jeffrey Epstein, the same way the Monica Lewinsky story wasn't a story because of Monica Lewinsky. It was a story because of Bill Clinton. Like, if you went to some news outlet and said, I've got this story about the president sleeping with a 23-year-old intern, they wouldn't go, well, nobody knows who the intern is, so it's not a story. Like,
it's fucking bullshit. It pisses me off so much. I already hate the traditional media. Actually, I liked what you called them before, Morgs, the legacy media. I already hate the legacy media, but this just fucking piles on, or it's such bullshit.
They just don't give a fuck. It's just
no, they really don't. They really don't. It's all about
they're a business.
And
people forget that they're a business.
Yeah,
like it's
yeah.
This might be a big story if they can expose Jeffrey Epstein, but it would just fuck him over with other people, and it would burn all these bridges. So we don't want to do it. We don't want to run it.
It's not journalism.
We might get sued.
It's the news when the news is convenient. For them, basically.
Exactly. Well, the other thing is there in that clip, she says, we had Clinton, we had everything. So she's talking about how Virginia Roberts has implicated Bill Clinton as well. Not saying Virginia Roberts hasn't said that she had any direct contact with Bill Clinton, but she said that she saw him on Jeffrey Epstein's private island in 2002 and that she was actually on the plane with him a couple of times.
The Lolita Express, might I remind our listeners.
And Bill Clinton admits Bill Clinton admits that he was on the plane 4 times. He said, he said he was on the plane to go to Africa and these other places, but it was all for work for the Clinton Foundation. But Jeffrey Epstein's flight logs put Bill Clinton on the plane at least 26 times.
Yeah.
So there's something funky going on there.
Oh, there's something funky going on with Bill Clinton. Full stop. Like,
yeah, and ABC had it all, and they killed the story.
Yeah, and I do find it interesting that even like we give the legacy media shit, but it's funny to see that the anchors themselves are actually frustrated by the whole situation.
Because they're journalists. They're trying to actually break stories.
I don't believe that.
I don't give a lot of them credit. I do give her credit for being pissed off at it, but also she loses marks for not trying harder or kicking it to someone else anonymously.
She should have leaked the story.
Really. Yeah, exactly. Well, right. If she actually gave a shit about the victims, which you presume that's where she's coming from.
Yeah, that's
she would
a good point, actually, Brad. Yeah,
but if she just gave a shit about making herself famous, well, obviously she's going to hold on to it.
She was probably just pissed off that such a good story got killed. Not the fact that it was important information to get out, just that it was a good, juicy story, and her bosses said, "No, we're not running that."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that was my problem with this whole clip, is that Amy Robach is talking. She keeps talking about how this was such a great story and it got quashed, and I did all this work and we had this great story and I had it all. She's clearly only gives a shit about herself and the fact that she would have got this big story out there. She doesn't say it's terrible because we could have put a stop to this 3 years ago and saved countless girls from being, in this situation, or and saved people.
Literally raped.
Yeah, we could have saved all these people. She goes, I would have had this great story. So there's a second clip about that I want you to play along.
Brad Edwards, the attorney, 3 years ago, saying, there will come a day when we will realize Jeffrey Epstein was the most prolific pedophile this country has ever known. And I had it all 3 years ago.
Yeah, Jeffrey Epstein was the most prolific pedophile, and I had the story. And that's terrible, and we could have stopped it.
I had the story.
But, I had the story. What a story. What a story.
I had the exclusive story. Yeah, I could have broken that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I'm being a bit unfair to her. I don't know what you think. But if you listen to that first
place. Because
but if you listen to that first clip again, it sounds like she's just, the reason she's angry is because the story is out now, and she didn't get to break it.
Yeah, she wasn't the one who got to,
That's what I said. I mean, I give her points for going there in the first place. No one else was doing it. And she at least, put it out there. But at the same time, if she actually gave a shit about the people, so she was a halfway decent person. She went
have some fucking integrity. If everybody has to have a hill that they're willing to die on, and if you're not willing to die on this hill, then what fucking good are you? You found this story.
Right, that's right.
And you aren't saying to your bosses, if you don't fucking play this story, I'm quitting. Or you don't say, if you don't fucking play the story, I'm taking it to another network or I'm leaking it. Let me fucking play the story. She's just like, I can't do it? Oh, okay. All right, I'll just do, whatever. I'll just do the news. Is that what you want me to do? Fucking have some balls.
That's true. If international pedophile ring is not the hill to die on, I don't know what is.
Oh, I mean, it's, Gotta do something about it.
Yeah. That's why it's lucky that podcasters like us willing to put themselves on the line to get this information out.
Well, the two biggest things that came out of that leak of that video was, number one, her saying we had everything, we had Clinton, because some people are running with that and saying, Bill Clinton, that's why they didn't run it. Yeah. Fair enough. But the other thing that was really big was what I want you to play now, on clip number 3.
So, do I think he was killed? 100%. Yes, I do. Because he made his whole living blackmailing people. There were a lot of men in those planes, a lot of men who visited that island, a lot of powerful men who came into that apartment. I knew immediately. And they made it seem as though he made that suicide attempt 2 weeks earlier, but his lawyers claimed that he was roughed up by his cellmate around the neck. That was all to plant the seed, and then that's why I really believe it. Really believe it.
Could not agree more.
So you turn on the TV, you watch ABC, and they say Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. oh, there's these crazy, wacky conspiracy theorists that think Jeffrey Epstein didn't commit suicide. How crazy are those people? And then her, behind the scenes, is like, I investigated this for 2 or 3 years. I 100% believe he didn't kill himself. Yeah. So it's, who knows better than her? That every time you turn on one of these channels, they're talking about how he definitely killed himself. And then, you see these articles that go, these fringe conspiracy theorists are saying that Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. And they're getting their own experts in and, they're not credible. It's like, this woman worked on the story for 2 or 3 years and she's convinced. She wasn't saying like, yeah, if you had to make me choose, if you had to make me guess, I'd probably guess that he didn't kill himself. She's saying 100%. There's no way he killed himself.
Yep. The journalism today is a joke. It's bullshit. You cannot rely on traditional media to get information because it's all crafted to fit whatever narrative their bosses are trying to push.
Yeah.
And her response to this as well was pretty weak. She was saying, it was a moment of frustration and I shouldn't have said what I said. And, the reason we didn't air the story is because it didn't meet our editorial standards. It's like, well, no.
Towing
you
the
said
company line.
Yeah, you said you didn't get the story because it would have, the palace threatened you and you wouldn't get access to Will and Kate. You said it was because your bosses said, who's Jeffrey Epstein? We don't even know who he was. You didn't say it's because it's not, verifiable enough.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Well, yeah. Which statement are you going to take? The statement that she thinks no one is going to see. Is not crafted. Is literally a hot mic. Versus the statement that she's had time that's probably been looked over by several lawyers and her boss.
It would have been written by someone else.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like which statement? Do they honestly think that people are going to believe it? Because as soon as she comes out and says, "Oh no, I was in the heat of the moment," everyone's just like, "Bull fucking shit."
Yeah, this is how dumb that they think we are.
Yeah, it's fucking disingenuous, but it's just fucking lazy as well. Like,
absolutely,
it's frustrating.
It should be noted that they still haven't released any of these interviews or any of these information.
And they won't. They won't. We're never going to see any of that.
And it didn't meet our editorial standards, even though she has pictures of herself with Prince Andrew. And Ghislaine Maxwell doesn't even deny that Virginia Roberts worked for Jeffrey Epstein. Like, how is she not a credible witness? She has photos. He's been convicted of doing similar things that she's saying he did.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't meet our editorial standards. This is fucking ABC, by the way, who showed footage of a gun range in Arizona and said it was Syria being bombed. Like, did that met your editorial standards?
Yeah, the pinnacle of editorial standard.
Anyway,
there's no way we'll ever see that footage as well. The moment that this hot mic came out, was leaked, they would have just destroyed every trace of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. There's no way it'll ever get out.
Yeah, and they were clearly just frustrated that the story got out, not embarrassed or apologetic or anything like that. So the fallout from it was that a woman named Ashley Bianco got fired from her job at CBS because Ashley Bianco was working at ABC at the time of this clip, and she is the one who actually recorded Amy Robach saying what she said and then saved the file and stored it on the internal system in ABC. She had moved jobs between the clip being recorded and the clip being released, and when it got released, ABC called up CBS and said, the person that made the clip is Ashley Bianco, and CBS said, all right, no worries, and then they fired her.
Yeah. Did she actually leak the clip, though? Because my understanding is she didn't leak the clip. She was just the one who cut it down into it.
She clipped it, but she didn't leak it. But the fact that she was the one who created the clip for somebody else to leak was enough for ABC to call up CBS to vindictively get her fired. And Lachlan, I've got a clip from Ashley Bianco being interviewed by Megyn Kelly.
So the purpose for clipping it was what? To watch it back later?
Yeah, watch it back later. I did it just for office gossip,
Did you go back and watch it later?
I didn't, no. I didn't think about it after that day.
So you didn't have outrage over them not airing it? This wasn't you trying to stake a claim?
I loved the company. I didn't have anything wrong with it, I would never try to do anything to jeopardize that. I just want my career back. I want people to know I didn't do it, That's all I want.
If what she's saying is true, I hate it. And if what she's saying is just a cover up to make her look better, I hate that as well.
Yeah.
She's a terrible person.
Yeah,
she's
that's bullshit either way.
Horrible person. I thought I'd be sympathetic to her before I heard the interview, like this woman who was wrongly fired, because all the headlines said like, woman from CBS fired even though she didn't leak the file, and I was like, oh, it must be a case of mistaken identity. They've fired the wrong person. That's terrible. I feel bad for her. So I watch it, and she says, oh, I clipped it so I could laugh about it with the girls at the office. It was just office gossip. Yeah, and then she says, I never even thought about it again. Amy Robach said, Jeffrey Epstein was the most prolific pedophile in American history. He definitely didn't kill himself, and ABC wouldn't let me run the story. And then she goes, oh, never even thought about it again.
Yeah, it's just office gossip.
How do you even sleep that night going home knowing that this happened and your company, your bosses allowed it to happen?
Yeah.
And then you go home and you go, oh, I love ABC. I had no problem with their decision, and I just want my job back.
And what does that say about all the other shit that they talk about off camera? That sort of thing doesn't even register as a big deal. Like what other shit are they talking about that the public doesn't know?
Well, even like the reason I clipped it was just so I could laugh about it with other people. It's like, what?
Yeah, that's not something to laugh about.
People who don't give a to be fair, she didn't say she wanted to laugh about it, but she said she wanted it for office gossip, and then she never thought about it again. Like she's not clipping it because it's a huge story and it's terrible that ABC allowed this to continue. Yeah. She clipped it so she could talk about it with the people around the water cooler.
She did the right thing, but she did it for such the wrong reasons.
She could have come out and been a hero and said, I clipped this because fuck ABC, because they let this story go on, because fuck Amy Robach for not, pushing forth with it. But she comes out and says, oh, I had no problem with their decision. I never thought about it again. It didn't haunt me. I could still sleep that night fine. Yeah. I wasn't horrified by what I heard. Oh, I just want my job back. Give me my job back. No, fuck you.
Yeah, and you can't even argue like it's a place of ignorance, because she had the wherewithal to understand the importance of the clip. Like,
yeah, that's right.
She is literally clipping every conversation off the hype mic and going, "Oh, this is a bit funny. This is a bit funny." No, she understood the gravitas of the clip, and she's like, "Oh, this is juicy," but then she didn't do anything with it, and she didn't give a shit about it. She's clearly,
and even if what she said in that interview with Megyn Kelly, even if she's just saying, "Oh, it was just office gossip," if she's just saying that to sort of backpedal and get out of being in trouble, maybe try and get her job back. Fucking coward.
Yeah.
Like, stand behind your actions. If you did this for the right reason, stand behind it. Don't fucking cower away from it and say, oh, no, I didn't mean to do it. I was just trying to have some fun with my friends at work.
I absolutely believe her when she says she just did it for office gossip. She's just a horrible person. It really pissed me off. I went into that interview.
To burn with the rest of them.
I went into that interview thinking I was going to be really sympathetic because I thought she got fired for no reason. And then she was like, yeah, I clipped it, but just for fun. Like, fuck you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's such... every time I hear this shit, I think I can't be more... Like, I can't hate the media more than I already do, but it just amps up more and more and more. Like,
it's just so depressing that doesn't register as like a big deal that, this needs to be out. This needs to be heard. We need to fix this somehow. It just registers as like, oh, this will be fun to chat about with the girls later. Like,
and she's not even one of the evil bosses pulling the strings from up the top. She's just someone who fucking works there. Like, that's how deep it runs.
I think people have no balls
in the culture. It's fucking hell.
Well, I mean,
pisses me off.
Whoever did leak this, though, is a hero.
Yeah, I was going to say 2 points. Yeah, first point is, whoever the hero is that found it and went, okay, this is fucked, we got to get this out there. Absolute hero. Second point, which I've just fucking blanked on. She retroactively could have made herself a hero. As soon as she's lost her job, she's not getting it back. She may as well have gone, I'm going to get people on side and gone, I tried to clip it, I couldn't get it out. Blah, blah. Yeah. She would have had so many people fucking cheering her on, and she wouldn't have literally had to do nothing. So not only is she a coward, she's just a dumb coward as well.
Yeah.
It's just... Yeah, I don't feel sorry for her at all. I'm glad she's fucking unhorrible in that market now. So why would you want to work there anyway? Like, fuck these people.
I just found it really depressing, these two things, that you've got regular people who just don't seem to give a shit about this and just give a shit about themselves. And Amy Robach is clearly upset that she didn't get to be the one to break the story. Would have been really great for me. And, you know, three more years went past with this guy abusing girls and, you know, whatever.
She knew what was happening.
That. I just care that I didn't get the story out first. And then the second woman, he just doesn't... It didn't even register to her that this was newsworthy and this is horrible. And she just never thought about it again. I don't think if I was at work and I learned that, you know, there was somebody abusing people at work, or, you know, somebody at work said that they know there's someone out there doing, you know, abusing hundreds of people, that I would go home and just forget about it. Like, that's a conversation you're going to fucking remember.
You wouldn't be able to stop your soul.
It's going to fucking... Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And anything you could do to rectify that, you would do. But she's saying, no, I clipped it for fun, and then I never thought about it again.
Yeah. Like, another thing
just really sad, just really depressing.
Yeah. Another thing that I just thought of is that Epstein was arrested long before this hot mic came out. There's definitely no way we're getting that footage, because if they wanted to run that story between now and his death, and then the hot mic even being exposed, they had all that time. Yeah, they had all that time. They had all that footage. They had all that information, which apparently Amy Robach has gathered.
Yeah, and they could have pretended that they'd been working on it for ages and just hadn't finished the story yet. And you know, now it's happened. We've just finished the story. They could have said that.
Yeah, we've rushed it.
You know, it would have been fine. Everyone would have.
We're not getting it. It's just never happening.
No, we're never seeing what she had,
which is disgusting.
Yeah. Lachlan, do you want to get us up to date with the autopsy and the prison guards?
Yes. Okay. So I mentioned this in our last episode of season 3, but so what happened with the autopsy? Quick recap: the coroner in New York performed the autopsy. Took her I think it was a week until she finally came out and said, yes, he killed himself. He hanged himself. It was suicide. But Epstein's brother and legal team hired Dr. Michael Baden, who worked on JFK, and he was a witness at the OJ trial.
Yeah, I wouldn't go off his OJ record. That was a pretty poor call.
Well, I mean, he wasn't there to say whether the gloves fit or not. You know, he was just there to say, yes, the heads weren't entirely cut off.
No,
they were 95% decapitated.
Actually, it's funny. His testimony was just that the crime couldn't have been committed in the time that OJ had, according to his timeline. That's it. So it wasn't necessarily that he didn't think OJ did it.
That's right.
The timeline presented to him was this, and he's saying OJ couldn't have possibly done it in that time.
Yeah, this guy, Dr. Michael Baden, is, if you want to get into some conspiratorial areas, he's connected to a lot of big other events, but that's not what I'm talking about. So he's a very experienced coroner. He observed the autopsy, and I believe he got his hands in there himself as well at one point. But
had a dig around.
Yeah, he released... See, he wasn't allowed to release this information until recently. He was under a gag order until, I think it was the end of October, 30th of October, I believe was the date. He straight away came out, went to the media, said the injuries that he sustained are not consistent with suicide. So there was 2 fractures either side of his the cartilage of his thyroid. Which is, you know, I'm not a doctor, but in his neck.
Larynx.
Yes. Larynx. Yeah. And the hyoid was broken in a way.
Hyoid bone,
not consistent with having hanged himself. Basically, his injuries in his neck don't happen from hanging yourself. It happens from being suffocated. And there was also
that guy. I heard that guy say that in his 50 years as a coroner, he's never seen.
Yeah, he's never seen that happen.
Yeah, I've got the exact quote
in a
here.
suicide hanging.
Yeah.
His exact quote was, "I've not seen in 50 years where that occurred in a suicide or hanging case."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So he's incredibly experienced, and I believe no other case of prisoner suicide in the history of the Metropolitan Correctional Center in New York didn't have those injuries. So there is a small chance that it can happen in a hanging, but it is very rare, and it's much more likely that he was murdered.
Yeah.
And also there was, I forget the technical word, but basically his eyes were like bulging out of his head, which is also more likely to happen with strangulation than it is to happen in a hanging suicide.
Yeah, it's like a bloodshotness that you just don't usually see with suicide.
Yeah, and he had bruising around his wrists, and I think he had a contusion on the side of his head as well, from memory. It was the side of his head or his neck.
Yeah,
or maybe it was his shoulder. Sorry, it was his shoulder. So what Epstein's brother is saying is that it looks like he was handcuffed at the time of his death, which I would buy that because you guys know I'm not one to buy into conspiracy theories, but the evidence isn't in favor of it being a suicide.
Well, if you think about
for those who don't know, for those who don't know our podcast very well, and this is your first listening, we did an entire season on conspiracy theories and how most of them are totally crazy. So we're not conspiracy theory people that we're just jumping onto this because, it's another one and that's the latest fun one. Flat Earth was last week and then this week is Jeffrey Epstein. Like, we don't buy into any of that shit.
No.
Muslims did 9/11, not Jews. And, the Titanic hit an iceberg. There wasn't some insurance fraud going on. Like, we don't believe all this
We'll
crap.
get into that another time.
We don't believe all this shit. Like, this one, if you in the first episode of Jeffrey Epstein, I said this very clearly, and I think it was a really important thing to say, that it's not a conspiracy theory when everybody calls it in advance.
Yeah.
If everybody in the New York harbor was screaming out, "This fucking ship is going to hit an iceberg and sink," you would be a little bit more, you would find the theories about the Titanic a little bit more credible. Yeah. Did it leave from New York to France or France to New York? Either way, from the port that it left people were screaming out.
If the movie Titanic gives me anything to go off, it left from New York.
Okay, cool. So
it was going to London, not France. But anyway, that's not important.
It was going to Paris. Oh, well, Paris isn't on the...
No, Paris isn't
on the fucking ocean, so that doesn't make sense. All right. So anyway, it's not a conspiracy theory when everybody was saying, this guy's in a jail cell in New York.
Yeah.
They're going to try to kill him.
Yeah.
And then he turns up dead.
Well, and they failed the first time, and then they got him the second time.
Yeah.
I know. Like you said, Lachlan, this almost certainly wasn't a suicide by hanging. The injuries aren't consistent with that.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, even if you could prove that it was a hanging, he still shouldn't have been able to kill himself.
It was allowed to happen.
Still foul play. Yeah, there's still foul play that allowed that to happen because he shouldn't have had time to kill himself. He shouldn't have been taken off suicide watch. He should have been monitored by guards. So can you tell us about the prison guard
He shouldn't have had his cellmate taken out of there. He shouldn't have been on his own.
Yeah. Quickly before you jump into the guards, I saw something written about this as well, and they could easily, with the hyoid bone, hyoid bone. Sorry, why did I put the B? Hyoid bone. They could easily debunk the extremely rare chance of it happening by releasing an autopsy photo based on what they call the ligature furrow, which is where a choking point cuts into the skin. It leaves a mark. Yep. If it's directly on top of his larynx and right on the hyoid bone, that is the only time that can possibly happen.
Yeah.
And even then, it's still rare, but it might happen due to his age. So they could get rid of that right there just by releasing an autopsy photo. No, they're not going to, but...
No way.
Yeah, but if, like, the ligature furrow, that exact placement is the only thing that, clears that up. So if it's up under his neck, under his chin, there's no way it could have possibly done the larynx. It couldn't have broken the hyoid bone. So, it might be worth him to get rid of all the conspiracy theories, just releasing that, but it'll never happen.
It won't, because it would disprove what they're trying to say, that it was a suicide, because it wasn't a suicide. Epstein did not kill him. Anyway,
and
like Morgan said, even if he did, it was allowed to happen.
It was definitely allowed to happen.
Prison guards who were on duty that night, they were supposed to check on him every half an hour. Now, when all of this happened, I believe they came out straight away. They're like, "Oh, we screwed up. We didn't check on him for." I think they said they didn't check on him for 2 hours. It was between 4:30 and 6:30 a.m. or something like that. It has since come out that, in fact, they didn't check on him for fucking 10 hours or something like that. Like, the cameras outside his cell, which they won't release the footage of and won't show to Epstein's legal team, but allegedly the footage from outside his cell shows that nobody went into his cell or even past his cell after 9 p.m. when he was put back in there at night until 6 a.m. the next morning.
Fucking prove it. Release it.
I'll watch all fucking 10 hours. I'll set a day aside. I'll watch it.
Guarantee that there will be thousands of people who watch all fucking 10 hours. They'll do the investigation for you. If there's a fucking frame out of place, these pricks will find it.
Yeah. So but anyway, I'm not addressing the fact that someone obviously went in there to kill him. What I'm saying is that the prison guards falsified the records of them checking on him. So they were still recording that they were checking on him every half an hour, except for those 2 hours where they said, "Oh yeah, we fell asleep." They were recording that they were still doing it. On purpose, mind you. Like, it's not like they were like, "Oh shit, we forgot to check on him. We better write down the last one and then go do the rest."
We missed the last two or something. Like, no.
Yeah, exactly. The computer records show that they were browsing the internet. Yeah. Interestingly enough, one of them was looking at buying a new motorbike. Wonder where he got the cash for that from.
The other one was Googling how not to be caught in a conspiracy or something.
No, the other one was looking at a new couch.
Yeah.
Both looking at making big, expensive purchases.
What do you mean? Sudden and fortuitous windfall.
No, but I always look up stuff that I'm not going to buy just for.
Oh yeah, who's paying you?
Out of interest.
Morgan doesn't think Epstein was guilty of anything. Podcast over.
Anyway, so the two of them have been charged with. They've both been charged with conspiracy.
Big word.
Which when you look at this whole thing, you're like, oh, they've been charged with conspiracy. It's a conspiracy. I looked it up. In legal terms, it just means. If someone's charged with conspiracy, it just means that they agreed to do something illegal. That's all conspiracy means, which they did. They agreed. They agreed to falsify the records. And
conspired.
Yeah, there was another charge as well, criminal negligence or something like that. It wasn't manslaughter. It'd be just like I think they should be charged with manslaughter, but I think it was criminal negligence or criminal misconduct or something like that. And their trial isn't until April next year.
5 counts of falsifying records, and one of them got 3 counts of falsifying records, and they were both charged with conspiracy. Is what I'm saying. Falsifying records.
I was sure I saw something about negligence.
There probably will be some sort of negligence.
Yeah, maybe they'll bring them up on that as well.
They'd have to,
but. Yeah, so these two, it's a man and a woman, I believe.
Yeah.
They're going to see the inside of a prison cell for sure for this.
Yeah. They're the fall guys for this as well.
I think. Sure. Well, that's the thing. They're the fall guys. I think the more important thing is to find out who, because I don't think they did this for no reason. I don't think that they just decided, we're not going to check on Epstein tonight.
Yeah.
Someone definitely told them, whether it was their boss or whether it was someone on the outside, gave them money and said, hey, we want you to just ignore Epstein's cell tonight. Someone was directing them to do this. And I think it's more important. I would say give them a plea deal. Let them walk free if they can lead you to who fucking gave the order.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. I mean, they're not the ones who made the call to take the most high-profile prisoner in that corrections facility off of suicide watch 2 weeks after he allegedly attempted suicide.
Yeah, which he said he didn't. Yeah. He said his cellmate beat him up.
Attacked. Yeah, he said he was attacked. So they're not the ones who made that call. So someone above them made that call. So you know that this is out of their pay grade. They're definitely the scapegoats.
Absolutely.
They're taking the fall for it. All of a sudden, law enforcement is swooping in on them. They can provide hundreds of hours of footage and shit like that to go after them but they can't go after Epstein before he dies. They can't do any of this shit.
That's the other thing. They've got all this footage from the night that it happened, except for the camera inside his cell.
Yeah, it's
that camera wasn't working that night.
So bullshit.
It's ridiculous on so many fucking levels. Like,
when you know this guy's a suicide threat, and you know that there are hundreds of people who want to kill him, you make sure that fucking camera's working. It's just
it's day one stuff. It's the most simple part of having someone in your custody.
Morgan, you mentioned it last time. You're more than happy to believe in the incompetence of government and state-run institutions, but this goes beyond incompetence. It has to be some sort of attempt to.
Yeah, it's intentional.
Yeah, to get him killed. And
again, I don't know whether I think someone went in there and murdered him or whether he did actually commit suicide. But if he did, I think he was told to.
He would have been. He would have been told, "You've got 5 hours tonight. You got this window. Do it in that time."
Yeah.
If he's committed suicide, he was told, "This is your time to do it."
Yeah. There's some people saying that he committed suicide just to escape justice, because he'd played the system so well in the past. They were saying this was his final act of, playing the system, escaping justice, making sure that he couldn't be punished for his crimes. While it sounds like, from everything I've heard about him, it sounds like that would be something he would not something he would do. That's in his personality to try and bend the system and get out of consequences, that sort of thing. But he loved being alive, very, very obviously, from the way he lived his life. He was. I don't think he ever would have taken his own life.
I don't think he would have given up that quickly or that easily. I mean, he had dirt on so many people. He could have called in heaps of favors, and if he did get sentenced to life in prison, and he knew that there was no one's going to come to his defense anymore, that's when he's going to commit suicide. It's not going to be while he's awaiting trial. He's presumably thinking he's still going to get off on this, and he's going to be able to call in all these favors and get another sweetheart deal if he gets convicted at all.
Well, his past record would show that he has had tremendous success in beating the legal system.
Yeah.
Dodging shit.
Yeah, and time was on his side. The longer that he can delay the trial, the less the outrage there is. It's as simple as that. And you know what? If he'd stayed alive, I don't think he would have got that much time in jail, because our system is a fucking joke. It's ridiculous.
Well,
there's no way that Jeffrey Epstein was compatible with suicide. He just wasn't. Unless
even if he was,
the alternative was so much worse. To happen?
He would have been given some kind of plea deal in order to, give up the names of the people who he had trafficked children to and who had helped him traffic children.
Exactly. And one of those people got him killed.
Yeah. One or more.
Yeah, the
at least, yeah.
The alternative, if he killed himself, was coerced or forced into it, must have been so bad that, I can't even imagine. Why would he take his own life?
Yeah.
Yeah,
he must have been told something's going to be worse.
Yeah, must have been bad.
I don't know. Anyway, who had him killed, do you think? Maybe it was Prince Andrew. Morgs, do you want to talk about the interview?
Yeah, okay. So all three of us have watched the smooth. All three of us have watched the Prince Andrew interview. So apparently his press secretary, because what person doesn't have their own press secretary?
That's right.
they quit over his decision to go on BBC. And
oh, really? I didn't know that.
They advised him not to do it. He said he's going to do it anyway, so they quit. And he got interviewed by the BBC, which is the British Broadcasting Company. It's their state media over there. So I was actually a little bit worried that they were going to go really easy on him. I think maybe the woman who was doing the interview could have pushed him a little bit harder, but she was in Buckingham Palace and she did grill him and she did bring all the receipts. She had all the evidence and things lined up. She had the dates, the names.
She pushed as far as she possibly could have without the interview being pulled.
Every one of those questions storming off would have been vetted first as acceptable, and he would have thought, yes, I can defend this point. That's why she obviously wasn't allowed to. Because the moment she pushed,
apparently he didn't. Apparently, he didn't get to see the questions first. That was the conditions that. But I'm sure all the producers at BBC would have been looking over those questions and saying, "Can we really ask that? Can we say to the Prince of fucking where's he from? Duke of York? Can we really say to this prince, did you rape a teenager?"
Yeah. Well, I mean, the moment she pushed too hard, he would have ended the interview. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, he would have just fucking rage quit. But I watched this clip. I watched this interview a couple of times. You guys said
it's a long interview. Well. It was like 50 minutes long.
Yeah, 49 minutes or something.
So I would recommend it. There's probably only about 20 minutes of content because fucking Prince Andrew speaks like Hugh Grant with all these stutters and stuff like that. He's like, well, you see, the thing about that is...
not to put too fine a point on it, but...
He does use that exact sentence, not to put too fine a point on it.
Takes him like a minute. Takes him like a minute to get out 20 words. It's ridiculous. But anyway, the interview was essentially about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah.
And I've made some notes through it, so I'll run through it quick. You guys can stop me if you think there's anything you want to comment on. Yep. But they were being interviewed in Buckingham Palace. On his turf. And he said that he met Jeffrey Epstein in 1999 through Ghislaine Maxwell, who was Epstein's girlfriend at the time. But he made it very clear that he was not close friends with Jeffrey Epstein. He said it would be a stretch to say he was a close friend. And then pretty soon after, he said it's very much a stretch to say we were very, very close friends. So,
that doesn't sound good, does it? He's gone from a be stretched to say you're a close friend to very, very close. So they're obviously close friends. Maybe even very close friends. So
you're not close friends with somebody. They're convicted of soliciting an underage girl for prostitution. They're pimping out 15, 16-year-old girls. You're not close friends. Would you fly halfway around the world to break up your friendship with him? Or would you say, you're not a close friend, so fuck you?
I'm just never going to speak to him again.
Yeah, so frustrating to hear that.
Exactly. Even if it's your best friend, Brad, Lachlan, if you guys were accused of this, I'd go, see ya. I wouldn't go to your house and spend 4 days there and talk to you about this. I'd say, fuck you, you're an evil person. But Prince Andrew said he had to go to see Prince Andrew in New York to tell him that it would be inappropriate for us to continue associating after he'd been convicted of this. So, inappropriate. He didn't say, I'm horrified by your actions, you're a terrible person, you prostituted and raped children. Well,
you
teenagers.
Are a fucking pedophile. I hope you rot
and I
in
never
hell.
want to see you again. He said, because you were convicted, it's not appropriate for us to associate. Yeah. And that was the language he kept using throughout the interview. He didn't say, I was disgusted by his actions and I never wanted to see him again. He just kept saying, I told him it wasn't appropriate that we should continue our friendship or we should continue our association. So
I believe his exact words for why he had to go there and do it in person was that it was the honourable and right thing to do.
Lachlan, play clip one.
But at the time, I felt it was the honourable and right thing to do, and I admit fully that my judgment was probably coloured by my tendency to be too honourable, but that's just the way it is.
Fuck you.
Fuck him.
First
so
of all,
hard.
that should take you 5 seconds to say, not 30 seconds. And yeah, he's saying that he had to go to New York to see him because it was the honourable thing to do. But he wasn't a close friend. But I got to go see him to break off my friendship with him because I'm honourable.
Oh, and too honourable.
Shit, I've been dumped by messages before, and I'm sure we were closer than Epstein and fucking Prince Andrew.
He stayed at Epstein's house for 4 days, and he had a dinner party with Epstein to celebrate his release from prison. And he was the
his
guest
release
of honor
from
apparently.
prison for being a fucking child sex offender, mind you.
Yeah, and the interview said that you were the guest of honor at this dinner party, and he said, "Oh no, I wasn't the guest of honor. I was just an attendee. It wasn't a party. It was just a small dinner of 8 or 10 people. So you're one of his closest 8 or 10 friends, but you're not close friends.
Not close friends,
and you're not close friends, but you got to go to New York for 4 days, halfway around the world, to break up with him." And you got to be at his dinner party with his 8 closest friends. Like, fucking, get your story straight. How did he not even think about that before he went on?
Yeah, I mean, he's having a celebratory, I'm on the loose as a pedophile party.
Yeah, I'm a pedophile and I got out of prison after only 13 months.
Yeah, and he gets, you'd think, he said the people he's going to see immediately are the people he wants to see. Mm-hmm. It's not casual acquaintances who I've seen every now and then. No. Prince Andrew, fly in, fly out. No, it's like guys I get along with and do shit with. Like, if I got out of the slammer, your boys would be the first people I'd call. Obviously, if I had been touching children inappropriately, you probably wouldn't answer.
Probably wouldn't answer the phone.
Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just ridiculous for him to not have the foresight to even lie about that.
And the interviewer said that during that time that you were at Epstein's house in New York, there is video footage of young girls walking in and out of that house while you were staying there. And Prince Andrew just says, "Oh yeah, I didn't see anything." And it's like, this guy just got released from prison for doing this, and then there are girls walking in or out, and your defense is, "I was there for 4 days, I didn't see anything suspicious."
Wouldn't you be on the lookout
Why were you
for
there
that
for
sort
4
of thing?
days? Exactly.
Do you think he just chucked his hands over his eyes and was like, "No, I don't see it"? Or do you think he was too busy fucking other children to notice?
Yeah, he was too busy fucking other children to notice.
Yeah.
My sense of this is that Prince Andrew was like, he just got out of prison. It's going to be a wild party because he just got out of prison. This is going to be the last time I'm able to see him, really, because the Queen's telling me I can't see him anymore.
Yeah.
Fucking Queen.
Yeah. Mum told me I can't play with you anymore.
Yeah, I can't wait till that bitch dies.
There. Yeah, I got to go there, have a blowout party for 4 days, and then I'll never see him again after that.
Fuck as many children as we can before I have to fly back home.
Yeah, it's like a junkie
and I
just
want to not to put too fine a point on it, but I just want to point out that, when we say children, we're not just talking about 17, 18-year-old girls. Like, I was listening to a podcast called The Mysterious Mr. Epstein. It was all about Epstein, and they got testimony from an air traffic controller at one of the airports that Epstein regularly flies his private jet, the Lolita Express, in and out of, and she saw girls regularly. She said as young as 10 or 11, getting put onto and taken off that plane. So we're not just talking barely legal teens. We're talking actual children.
You mean barely illegal teens? There was nothing illegal about what was going on.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, true. And it was funny in the interview. Prince Andrew was told of accusations against him directly to his face, and he denied them. And then when he was asked if those people are lying, he wouldn't say that they were lying, which I thought was really odd. So the interviewer said to him, there was an author, I think, his name's John Brockman. He saw you getting a massage from a young Russian girl during that 4 days. You were getting a foot massage from a young Russian girl. And Prince Andrew says, absolutely not. And she says, so his statement is false? And then Prince Andrew's like, "Oh well, I don't know him. I don't know his motives, so I can't comment." It's like, what? If somebody lies about you, you say
they're lying.
That's bullshit.
They're lying. It's not true, or they're being misleaded. They're mistaken. That's not what actually happened. They think they saw something they didn't. You don't say, "Well, is it false? I don't know." But then we really got to the meat of the interview. This was the like if you had any sympathy for Prince Andrew before this part, this was when it would all have faded away. So they brought up the accusation against him from Virginia Roberts. So Virginia Roberts says she met Prince Andrew in 2001. She went out partying with him, and then she had sex with him in London, and then she had sex with him another 2 times over the next 2 years. Mm-hmm. So, Lachlan, do you want to play that next clip?
One of Epstein's accusers, Virginia Roberts, has made allegations against you. She says she met you in 2001. She says she dined with you, danced with you at Tramp nightclub in London. She went on to have sex with you in a house in Belgravia belonging to Ghislaine Maxwell, your friend. Your response?
I have no recollection of ever meeting this lady. None whatsoever.
You don't remember meeting her?
No.
It's just so infuriating.
Hey, Lachlan, ask me if I've ever had sex with a child prostitute.
Morgan, have you ever had sex with a child prostitute?
Well, I don't remember. What the fuck are you talking about? It's clearly, if you didn't do it, it's clearly a categorical no.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was thinking while I was watching this interview. That's what I was thinking. Can't you, yeah, I can say...
I have no recollection.
I've never had sex with a child. It's like... I remember specifically that I have never had sex with a child. I can't say, it might have happened, I don't remember. It's never happened. I wouldn't do it, and I haven't done it, and I won't. And it's just like... It's so black and white.
Boys, to be fair to Prince Andrew, she asked the exact same question, worded the exact same way, a second time, and he said no. So, he had to be prompted twice. Like,
I did
really?
like that.
Are you fucking serious? You didn't going to say no?
Sometimes, the interviewer just... A few of the really serious questions.
Just repeated.
She would repeat it verbatim. She would just say the exact same question.
Same words. The exact same words.
Yeah.
And then he's like...
She was like, you don't remember? She said she danced with you. She dined with you.
No, he said... But even on the second time, he was like, I cannot remember, no. It's like,
and
what?
some of the things that... Like... Virginia Roberts had very specific details. Like, she's talking about where in the nightclub Tramp they danced, and he was sweating a lot.
Where precisely they had sex.
Where they had sex, and he was buying her drinks, and he's like, I don't drink. I don't know where the bar is in Tramp, so I couldn't have bought her drinks.
I've literally written that in my notes.
Yeah. It's... he's not even good at bullshitting.
His excuses were fucking terrible. First of all, he kept saying, "I have no recollection. I have no recollection." The reason he was saying that, I believe, is because there's a fucking photograph of him with his arm around Virginia Roberts, who's 17.
Good.
He's touching her midriff. He's touching her bare midriff because she's wearing like a low cut top. He's touching her on the hip, on her skin. And Ghislaine Maxwell is standing in the fucking background.
And his fucking reasoning for that photo, he's like, I don't remember that photo being taken, and and the interviewer asks him, so you're saying it's fake? He's like, well, no one can prove that it's fake. It's a photo of a photo.
No one can prove that it's fake or that it's real.
No one can prove that it's fake. Is that me in the photo? Yes, but
he said, "Is that my hand though?"
Yeah, is that my hand?
He said it might not be my hand.
No.
God, it made me fucking angry.
And he's like, his excuses are so fucking lame. He's like, it couldn't have been because that photo was taken upstairs in Maxwell's house, and I've never been upstairs in her house.
I've never walked up
downstairs is where the dining room is. I've never been upstairs.
How does he know it was taken upstairs if he hasn't been up there?
Yeah, I know the whole time.
No, it is next to a railing, so you can see it's on the second floor. But he says, I've never been upstairs in a house. Like, that's not the reason you give. No. It's like, have you ever raped a child in Africa? I've never been to Africa. I've never raped a child.
By the way,
I don't recall going to this country. I've been to Namibia, but I haven't been to Zimbabwe. So
it's okay, guys. The Queen cancelled his birthday party. So
he got a slap on the wrist.
That's right. Justice has been done.
And he said, those are the clothes that I wear when I'm travelling, so I wouldn't have worn something like that in London. It's like, well, There's photos of you in London wearing that exact outfit, presumably taken on the exact same night.
No, I wouldn't have done
What are you talking about?
Oh, I just want to know quickly, are you going to address the I don't sweat comments?
Oh, no, yeah. I was going to let it pass because it's so
I
piss
can't.
weak.
I actually looked into it. I was so fucking blown away by that statement. So she, during
it's
the
not
interview,
I don't sweat. I didn't sweat at that time.
Yeah. He's left himself some wiggle
But
room
now I
there.
can sweat again.
And he said that it was
now.
due to, and I quote, an overdose of adrenaline that he received during the Falklands conflicts when someone shot at him. And I was like...
Too bad they fucking missed, am I right?
Yeah, I know. I was like, okay, maybe I should look this up. So I typed in overdose of adrenaline, and then it was
like
like...
the benefit of the doubt.
It was immediately fucking followed up like, can it make you not sweat? And I looked up. And I've got like a lot of research here I've looked into. But basically, the claim of an overdose of adrenaline has led to the inability to sweat does not make sense. Because adrenaline is actually associated with an increase of sweating.
Yeah.
And that to lose full body sweating or even partial body lends itself to nerve damage or an issue with his brain. So unless he has an underlying condition that stems from some sort of nerve damage or damage to his brain, there's no way that can be possible, especially from an overdose of adrenaline, unless someone literally beat him in the head or he has some kind of, I think,
but his lies are just so blatant and pathetic and like
that's the thing.
ridiculous.
They're not even good lies. He hasn't even thought about it. It's like he didn't.
It's how people lie, but it's how people lie when they they know they've done something, so they're like, well, did you do this? And it's like, well, I don't even know where the bar is at Tramp.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't buy drinks. Like, this is the accusation, and your best defense is, I don't know where the bar is. Like, how is that verifiable? Like, nobody knows if you know that for real.
No. Just say no.
You just say,
no, I didn't do it.
No, I didn't do it.
It's old school lying before people could fact check shit.
It's honestly the kind of lie you tell when you're not expecting to be asked a question about something that you need to lie about. It's like he hadn't done any thinking about what his answers to questions were going to be. He just went into this interview completely blind.
Yeah,
he's like, "Oh, I'll just wing it on the spot. I don't need to think about it."
And his excuse for that night, it was like March 10 of 2001 or whatever, and he said, "No, I couldn't have done it because I took my 13-year-old daughter, to a pizza party in Woking or whatever at 4 or 5.
Pizza Express.
I know, right? At 4 or 5 p.m. It's like, well, that doesn't fucking mean anything because what sort of 13-year-old birthday party goes late into the night? You probably got home at like 8 p.m., 9 p.m., maybe at the very latest 10 p.m., put the kids to bed, and then you go out and have sex with the 17-year-old. Like, this is no this is not an alibi. It's like, Lachlan, if you said, "Oh, Morgan, you murdered someone in the afternoon," and I was like, not possible. I was having breakfast with a friend. Like, what are you talking about?
And the fact that he goes straight from, I can't remember what happened back then. I don't remember. And then, March 10th, yes, I was at home with the children, and then I took B to a birthday party at Pizza Express in Woking.
I remember it weirdly distinctly. That's a quote that I wrote down.
He remembers that specifically. Well, so he says. But he can't remember ever meeting this 17-year-old who he allegedly had sex with 3 times.
He says, isn't it suspicious that his wife is out of town?
Yeah.
He has to take care of his daughters.
Yeah.
He has something on in the afternoon with them. Yeah. And then there's nothing on at night.
Mind you, he's a prince. He's not looking after his own kids. There's no way.
Exactly. That's what I mean. The kids go to bed.
He drove his
people
kid
all
to
through
a
the house.
fucking birthday party. One of the butlers would have done that. I just want to address the whole Pizza Express thing, because if anyone follows, conspiracy theories and that sort of thing, you'll know about Pizzagate. Pizzagate is about this whole global underground pedophile sex ring, and it was alleged to it was being run out of the basement of a pizza shop called Pizza Express, and look,
such a coincidence.
I don't buy it. I don't buy the whole Pizzagate thing, but the fact that it's all centered around Pizza Express, and then Prince Andrew who is accused of having sex with children in Jeffrey Epstein's home, who has been proven to be one of the most prolific pedophiles of all time. He can't remember having sex with this 17-year-old, but he remembers on that day he went to Pizza Express. Like, it's a fucking dog whistle. Like, it's like he's saying it just for the people who know that he had sex with these children.
Yeah.
He's just saying that to say, yep, I did it, and there's not shit you can do about it.
I have another angle to this that he might be saying.
I can't articulate what I'm so fucking angry about this.
I mean, he's clearly a fucking idiot. He didn't think about anything before the interview, so I don't think this theory that I'm about to float is correct. But one could say that the evocation of pizza is to rile up conspiracy theorists. So anybody who says anything against Prince Andrew is like, oh yeah, Pizzagate, ha ha ha. Do you think that's possible?
I mean, that would require him to have some level of foresight that would not lend itself well to the fact that he answered the questions beforehand so fucking poorly. Like, if you think that
people start linking him to Pizzagate, which has been like widely mocked as like ridiculous and crazy and stuff, if people start linking him to that, then he could be dismissed along with that. Like, oh, you believe in Pizzagate? Yeah, Prince Andrew raping kids. Yeah.
I get what you're saying. I'm just saying
if his press secretary hadn't have quit.
Yeah.
If his press secretary hadn't have quit and he had have actually had notes going into that interview, maybe. Yeah. But
you're crediting him with a level of foresight that he just does not have. The man does not have.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the intelligence to pull that off.
Well, actually, maybe it's a Kaiser Soze verbal Kint type thing where he wants us to think he's a fucking idiot, which we do. Yes. So mission accomplished there, Prince Andrew.
But if he was that fucking smart, he would have said no to fuck it.
Yeah, but all his answers were about, I don't remember, I don't recall.
Yeah.
It wasn't,
I have
this
no
definitely
recollection.
didn't happen. This photo is definitely fake. Yeah. I didn't take that photo. I've never met her. It was all, I don't remember this, I don't remember that. Or it couldn't have happened because I think I was in Boston at the time, not in New York. Oh, I was in New York as well, but I was mostly in Boston. Like, his excuses are pathetic. And
they're piss poor.
I don't know if you guys got this sense as well, but I watched this interview with my fiance, and after it, we were talking about it, and I said that this seems like the sort of guy who has always been surrounded by people who believe he's shit because they have to. They're paid to believe he's shit.
Yeah.
So he thinks, if I come up with a lame excuse, if I come up with these ridiculous, pathetic lies, people are going to believe it because people always believe me. I'm such a great liar. I always get away with it. But he's really not getting away with it. It's just people are letting him get away with it because you're his butler. You have to say, oh, yes, sir. Yes, that's true.
You are spot on.
So he goes on TV thinking, I'm going to fool the whole nation. And then everybody goes to him, you're fucking crazy. What the fuck was that? Like, that was terrible. We all know you're talking shit. You're lying. And he's like, what? I mean, how did he think this was a good idea? This is... Oh, it's so obvious that he's lying about all this stuff.
The only reason that you should do an interview like this is if you are innocent and you want to clear your name. Exactly. And it's because you would have rock solid alibis for you would be able to
legitimate answers. Yes,
that's right. You'd be able to prove that you didn't rape a child. It's just the fact that he did this. It's such a bad idea. His press secretary knew. Does he fucking quit? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, another. Sorry, have you got more?
Well, I was going to say, I was saying this to Shannon as well. I think the absolute most charitable interpretation that you could give Prince Andrew is that he is a fucking idiot. He's as stupid as they get.
Yeah.
Which
is likely because it's part of the royal family and they're all fucking inbred.
But he was friends with Jeffrey Epstein because Jeffrey Epstein wanted to be friends with rich and powerful people.
Yeah.
And usually people are rich and powerful because they're smart, they're intelligent, and they've done something that has given them fame and fortune and power. Whereas Prince Andrew, all he did to get famous was be born. So there's no, there's no intelligence barrier that he had to cross to be in his position. So he's just a fucking idiot. He goes to Epstein. Epstein's like, oh, all these girls, you can sleep with as many as you want, whatever, they're all up for grabs. He just assumes that they're 18 because they look, 17, 18, 19. Oh, well, my friend Jeffrey wouldn't, be doing this with kids. He's banging 18-year-olds, he thinks. Turns out one of them was 17, and he's just like, well, now I have to lie about everything. I think that it would have been nice if the interviewer had said to him, I thought it would have been nice, maybe she couldn't have said this, but I would have said to him, there's a picture of you and Jeffrey Epstein on a yacht surrounded by topless women. So maybe they're over 18. Let's assume that they're all over 18. But doesn't that show that your friendship with Jeffrey Epstein, at least, if not was all about, but at least involved him inviting girls around for your entertainment? You can't expect us to believe that you didn't sleep with any. So can't you just say, yes, you slept with Virginia Roberts, you thought she was 18, but she was actually 17?
Yeah.
Like, do you expect us to believe this?
I mean...
Yeah, I think you're right. That is the most charitable explanation you can give, but
and
I don't think it's the truth.
No, I don't think it is either.
I mean, that's basically would be his best defense now, is to say, I didn't know that they were prostitutes. I didn't know they were unwilling prostitutes and they'd been, coerced into this. I thought they were all over 18, and Jeffrey Epstein was just a guy who, because of his money and power and status, was always getting...
getting prostitutes
young,
around.
Attractive prostitutes to come in, and, as part of being friends with him, you got to sleep with his prostitutes, and I didn't know there was any human trafficking going on, and I didn't know she was 17. I think that's the most charitable interpretation. But you can't expect, Prince Andrew can't expect us to believe that he's on a yacht with these topless women. He's hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein, who's been convicted of, this. There's, apparently, according to all reports, every time you're at his house, there's these young girls walking through the house and stuff. You can't expect that we believe that none of your friendship with Jeffrey Epstein involved you sleeping with any of the women or the girls who were around.
Yeah.
The last thing I noticed about the interview is when the interviewer asked him to describe the Virginia Roberts Giuffre allegations. And the words he used were surprising, shocking, and a distraction. He never talks about...
Not false.
They're not false. Not untrue. Not completely unfounded. Just shocking.
Yeah. Not bullshit.
Surprising, shocking, and a distraction. I could not...
No, he said... I wrote this down as a quote, that when the allegations came out, he thought, that's a bit strange.
That's a bit strange that she's talking after Epstein paid her off.
Yeah, that's a bit strange. Not, oh my god, what are these allegations?
How could
total
this
bullshit,
be?
But
this
is a little strange.
Yeah. And look,
but
to be absolutely 100% fair, it is her word against his, and you cannot convict someone on that. There is no hard evidence that they had sex.
No,
it's I believe they did. Yeah. But you can't prove it, and you can't convict someone on he said, she said. So, to be absolutely fair, you can't prosecute him unless there's some sort of evidence we haven't seen. But
the only reason
beyond a reasonable doubt, though, there's this, the standard isn't you have to have DNA evidence, you have to have a video of it. The standard is beyond a reasonable doubt, and there's no fucking way that anybody is buying this shit. This is. There's no. If I was on a jury, I would not give him a 0.1% chance.
There's no proof that they had sex. That's what I'm saying.
The only reason that it is a he said, she said is because of the ineptitude or the complete and utter lack of attempt at an investigation by any kind of prosecuting powers in the US.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I guarantee you there was evidence that they had banged.
I'm sure there was at one point. But there was. It's too late now.
It's fucking gone now. It's done. Yeah. Done. Yeah. We missed that boat. There is no justice coming this way.
Epstein probably had fucking videos of it because he kept videos and pictures of the young girls having sex with with people.
Anyone with a heartbeat. Yeah.
Like they found all these DVDs in his safe.
Yeah.
I'm sure they've all somehow disappeared or been destroyed now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
but they found them when they raided his house, so presumably...
Could you imagine what he had on the island? Like that they
Yes,
did not...
they should still have them, but I'm sure they don't.
But could you imagine if that's what he had in his New York penthouse apartment?
Yeah.
What did he have on the island? His
we'll
home
never
base
know
for degeneracy.
because
Yeah.
there was so much time for someone to go in there and get rid of all the evidence before the FBI raided the fucking... Oh, God, that's... Yeah, well, I addressed this in our other episode on Epstein. It's just so sloppy.
Yeah, I said that with the power and connections that he had, that unless the FBI were hitting his island at approximately the same time they were ripping him off the plane at Teterboro in New Jersey, there's no point because he's just... People are going to hear about it or he's going to call someone and tell them...
Clean-up crew.
Yeah, clean-up crew's coming through. And that's exactly what they did.
The drone footage from Rusty Shackelford proves it because... One day there's a computer there, the next day it's gone.
It's done.
And then like a week later the FBI come in and they're like, oh, we can't find anything.
It was like a month and a bit. It was like 2 days after he died. He'd been arrested
it was a long time.
Yeah, it's like 6 weeks or 5 weeks or something. It was ridiculous.
Something else in the interview is that the interviewer didn't really press him too hard on his friendship with Ghislaine Maxwell because he was kind of pushing this idea that he was really good friends with Ghislaine Maxwell, and then he only knew Jeffrey Epstein through her, so he was like a friend of a friend, really, and they were acquaintances because of that.
Package
but,
mind you, that's no better because Ghislaine Maxwell is a fucking child rapist as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Ghislaine Maxwell, by all accounts, was in charge of procuring these girls, tricking them into coming... And, telling them that you're going to come and give this guy a massage, you're going to earn hundreds of dollars, it's going to be really easy, and then, convincing them to, step it up
and
all the time, and turning him into prostitutes. She
sexually assaulted Virginia Roberts as well.
Yeah.
Herself.
There's a couple of people
turning them into child prostitutes and then getting them to recruit other girls as well. She's working on a fucking pyramid scheme. Like, she's an evil, evil woman. And yes, there are accusations that she actually was involved in the sexual stuff as well. Mm-hmm. So she didn't really press him. The interviewer didn't really press him on his friendship with Ghislaine Maxwell. And he was saying that he even saw Ghislaine Maxwell earlier in the year. And, she didn't ask him, what do you think about the accusations against Maxwell? It's clear that if she was that close to Jeffrey Epstein, she must have known something was going on. So even if,
she was the one flying him between Florida and his island.
Yeah, she knew exactly
she's the one with the pilot's license.
The interviewer didn't really press him on why he's still friends with Ghislaine Maxwell, why he still hangs out with her, and but Brad, do you know what's going on with Ghislaine Maxwell? She's in hiding or something?
Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego?
Some breaking news right as we were talking is that the FBI has announced that they've subpoenaed her and she's actually coming in for forced testimony.
Good, lock her up, throw away the key.
I'm sorry, boys. I'm just fucking with you. There is no justice in this world. The bitch is still on the run.
God
are you serious?
Yeah,
you fucking with us?
Yeah, Morg's face then was priceless. No.
Don't do that to me, bro.
No, the bitch has been on the run since before he was arrested. She's always had a low profile, but ever since he got arrested, she's disappeared. There's been literally no trace of her. People are saying that she's been in England. People are saying she's been in France, South America. Literally no one knows where she is. It was confirmed at one point that she was in Manchester by the Sea in Massachusetts, staying at a tech billionaire's house. But by the time that people got there to try and photograph her...
They got photos of her reading a book, Death of a CIA Agent.
Those photos were a hoax, actually. They were
really?
They were released by her agent as counter PR.
God damn it.
So to throw people off her trail. So the photos were of her, and they were her in LA at In-N-Out Burger, but just not in the time frame of that people. So
was she reading that book?
She was reading a book. It was, I don't have the actual name.
Life and Death of a CIA Agent.
Yeah, something like that. It has something to do with that.
That's what it was called.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, but, because there's rumours that Epstein was a CIA operative, or not operative, asset.
Well, more importantly, this just goes...
Doesn't seem that crazy, really,
to show how big a cunt she is that she would stage this photo. When people want her to come and testify, give her side of the story, whatever. Yeah. If she is innocent, she's not.
She's not.
If she's, is proclaiming her innocence, they're saying, why would you do this? Is fuck. It's fucked. You're throwing people off the scent, and you're also little nodding a wink to Jeffrey Epstein, a convicted pedophile, in the fucking photo. It was released by one of her press managers or something like that.
Yeah.
But the closest anyone's actually got to seeing her was in Manchester by the Sea in Massachusetts. They took a photo of her dog with the tech billionaire's name I'm fucking blanking on now as well because I'm so fucking juiced up with rage. But he was walking her dog, and by the time they got there, she fucking pieced out again. Literally no one knows where her are. People are saying that the FBI know where she is and that they're tracking her. I don't know if they do because they've shown such incompetence. There have been releases of hers, from her press side of things, saying she's going to make a statement, whether it's via the police or whether it's FBI or whoever, or if she's going to come out and do it herself or even appear in a TV interview. No one's sure. But the simple fact of the matter is no one knows fucking anything about Ghislaine Maxwell, and she's the only person who's alive that isn't a retarded royal who might be able to get some sort of justice, but
it's very obvious that she's guilty because you don't run away.
No,
if you're innocent, and not for this long either. I could understand when it first happened. Maybe just hang out, lay low for a little bit till the smoke clears, and then come out and say, "Look, I knew about it, didn't do anything, or I didn't know about it, whatever, blah blah blah." But for this long, months later, and she's still hiding, she's still running.
Yeah,
she's definitely guilty.
She's even there. She's throwing up counter PR, that's how.
Yeah, to try and throw them off the trail.
Throw them off the trail. And the Sun in the UK currently has a £10,000 bounty on her head, just for a single photo of her.
Yeah,
good. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I want more bounty. I want a higher bounty. I want every fucker looking for this bitch until she comes out and is forced to make a statement or anything. It's just the fact that she
knows everything and she was involved in everything as well. And there's. Brad, you can talk about it if you want, but there are unsealed court documents of when Virginia Roberts sued Epstein and Maxwell. And Virginia Maxwell doesn't say... Ghislaine Maxwell doesn't say, I don't know who this chick is, or she was just someone that was hanging out with us, or whatever. She says, yes, I hired Virginia Roberts to be Jeffrey Epstein's personal masseuse, but she was 17 at the time, and at 17, you can have a masseuse license and you can be a masseuse, so there was nothing wrong with it, and she's exaggerating about all the times we spent together, but there are all these photos of Virginia Roberts and Ghislaine Maxwell together, and Ghislaine Maxwell is saying, I always hired people for Jeffrey Epstein. I hired pilots and gardeners and butlers and blah, blah, blah. And yes, I hired him masseuses. I got young girls to be masseuses for him, including this 17-year-old girl, but there was nothing weird about it. So she's fucking admitting that she was hiring young girls to massage Jeffrey Epstein. And we all know what that means. She's saying, it was just a massage. This guy doesn't just get massages from young girls. And it's been proven that he is a child sex trafficker. So you saying, yes, I procured this girl to give him a massage means you procured a girl to be a child sex prostitute for him. Not that you...
it's tantamount to saying that you're guilty.
If you have child sex... If you have child prostitutes, you don't also have young masseuse girls that aren't prostitutes. You don't have both of them.
No. You don't have... Yeah, if you're saying... basically, you're spot on. If the crime is he abused his masseuses who were underage, and she's saying, I procured the masseuses, you put two and two together. She's balls deep in it. It's ridiculous. And from all the...
But she's admitting... The point of that is she's admitting that she knows that a girl she hired to be Jeffrey Epstein's masseuse was a 17-year-old girl.
Yeah.
And she's the only person that might face any kind of criminal time who's still alive. Hope, because Prince Andrew, they're not even going to be able to touch him. He's never going to leave England if they start going after him. And she's also the only person who gets some closure for these people. Every person who's come out with a victim statement of the 12 women, I think it was. They all say that he has the exact same MO, which is, I got him for massages, I thought he cared, blah, 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 next thing, I'm being abused.
I honestly am amazed that she hasn't, quote-unquote, committed suicide.
Yeah.
Because
I can't be
she can implicate every single person that Epstein could have.
Yeah. And when all of these... With all these victims
why are they
saying
keeping her alive?
Yeah, exactly. When all the victims are saying that it's the same MO, it's always the massage thing, and she's the person who procured the masseuses. It just
her best
logically
defense
follows.
Is I procured. Her best defense is I procured all these masseuses. I didn't know what he was doing with them, which is obviously bullshit. But maybe you could get off on that. But
it just logically
this bitch
follows.
needs to fry.
She needs to fucking fry.
Well, she needs to talk.
She needs to talk and then burn immediately afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
And Prince Andrew is a fucking pathetic little weasel, and he's just such a horrible, evil person. You look at his face, and you look at him lying, and it's just fuck. I wanted to reach to the TV and just fucking strangle him. But I don't think anything particularly is going to happen to him legally, but I hope that he can't sleep. I hope that he feels like the walls are closing in on him, because he clearly doesn't feel guilt.
Yeah.
He doesn't feel bad about what he's done, but if at least he can feel some discomfort, because he feels like people know what I did and people are not going to let this go, and I'm being stepped down from all my duties. And when people look at me, if I ever have to look a peasant in the eye, they're going to look at me with the disgust of knowing exactly what I did. So I hope he feels that the walls are closing in and that he has nowhere to go and that he's disgraced forever, because if he doesn't get justice, at least he can feel shit about himself.
I hope he never gets another birthday again because someone
I hope he hangs. I hope Ghislaine Maxwell hangs. I want to see them all burn. I want to see them
public execution.
Yes, public execution. I'm not even fucking exaggerating here. I want to see their heads separated from their bodies.
There needs to be some sort of
it's
closure.
the only
justice.
It is
need
the
a reckoning,
only sort of justice.
A reckoning, that's a good one, yeah.
Seeing them executed is the only justice that it can happen here. Like anything less than that is spitting in the face of the victims.
Mm-hmm.
And taking down Prince Andrew, if it's possible, would be the best thing possible, because it would send a message that nobody is
That's right.
above
Nobody's
this.
untouchable.
And we're coming for all of you, because if we can get fucking Prince Andrew, we can get anybody. If the fucking Queen of England can't protect you, no one can protect you, and you're fucked. So I think Ghislaine Maxwell is target number one, but Prince Andrew's target number two. Not for the information that he knows, but just for the message that would send to everybody else.
Do you reckon that they would deliberately put off, going after Ghislaine Maxwell just to give Prince Andrew a sense of, comfort or whatever, the heat's dying down, and then he come back into the country and then they arrest him or something like that? Because at the moment he's sitting in Buckingham Palace. He's never going to leave England again if he knows that.
I don't think they've got anything to arrest him on, to be honest.
I don't think so, but do you think that would be a tactic that they would do? Because all conventional wisdom says that you can see that there is at least some investigating that needs to be done here.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not doing anything. They haven't brought Ghislaine Maxwell. There's outrage. That in itself would usually be enough to warrant a talking, like an interview or something, like a sit-down, face-to-face interview. The fact that there's this huge amount of outrage and there's so much evidence pointing to her being a key figure in this whole thing, and yet nothing. It would appease so many people just for her to come in for an interview. I don't know. There has to be something else going on. There has to be a reason why SEAL Team 6 hasn't kicked down some door and dragged her ass out. And I don't know what it is. Is it that she's in a country and they actually don't know where she is? God, I fucking hope not, because if that bitch lives a long and fulfilling life after what she's done, there really is no cosmic justice or anything. It's just fucked.
Yes.
Depressing, but
it's very sad. And
I think we've all think we've all burnt out our rage, and we're just.
I just feel defeated.
We're just
I'm running hot
left it
25. I messaged you about doing this episode, Lachlan, because I was just fucking pissed off. Every time I read about this, it's just draining me mentally.
Yeah.
But I don't want to stop looking at it. I don't want to stop thinking about it because I think it's really important, and we need to keep pushing it. I think if everybody does their bit and pushes a little bit harder, we can, put enough pressure on people to do more interviews and to
literally just like spreading the meme Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself is working.
Yeah, get involved in the fight,
in the meme war.
I legitimately think that all the pressure that everybody's been putting on, not the legacy media that we've been saying, but people on social media, all the pressure that people have been putting on convinced Prince Andrew to come forward and to do that interview, because he was like, well, this isn't going away, I have to address it. Yeah. And then addressing it made it worse, and it made more people aware. And I think the more we can push this and keep it in the news and keep it relevant is really important.
Yeah, we can't let it go away.
Yeah, we need to bring this sort of thing to justice. We don't know how deep it goes, but people need to fucking hang for this, and there needs to be, there might be some other underground Jeffrey Epstein who's about to rise through the ranks and become the next fucking, pedophile blackmailer
overlord. Yeah,
and we gotta find a way to make sure these people
doesn't
are
happen
accountable,
again.
so people can't do this again.
Yeah.
And as soon as it does start happening again, if there is another Jeffrey Epstein, it's not just the Alex Jones people talking about the Lolita Express fucking 10 years ago, 20 years ago. It's everybody talking about it. The pressure's on from every angle, not just from the fringe, quote-unquote crazy people that everybody thinks are ridiculous.
Everyone thinks Alex Jones is crazy, but he called everything that he says comes out in the news 10 years later.
He's been talking about Jeffrey Epstein for decades. He's been talking about him forever. He's been talking about Bill Clinton and the Lolita Express. He's been talking about all this shit. And the reason
everyone just writes him off as crazy.
Yeah, I think it went under the radar a lot because people were thinking, oh, what are you talking about? This guy is a pedophile island? Yeah, you sound like Alex Jones. You're crazy. Yeah. Whereas now, everybody's like, oh, Jeffrey Epstein? You mean the guy who didn't kill himself and that there's some conspiracy guy? Like, everybody knows. So now that everybody knows, we're going to keep this pressure that everybody continues to know, and this sort of thing can't happen again. It can't be allowed to go unnoticed again. It can't be swept under the rug. It can't be dismissed as like some crazy, wacky conspiracy. No, there couldn't possibly be a billionaire with a pedophile island and a rape plane where he, hosts academics and politicians. No, don't be crazy. Like this, we know this. So you got to make sure it doesn't happen.
That's right. Again. It's real. It happened, and we can't let it happen again.
Yeah.
Don't let it get memory hot.
All right. Well, that's it, I think.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening, everyone. If you like what we did here, you can suss out our other actual normal episodes. bradisabadperson.com for all of that. Jump on our social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Tell us what you think about all this. And please, if you see any new information, please send it to us, because I consume everything that I can relating to Epstein.
It's like Dyatlov Pass, but relevant.
Yeah, I want to stay up to date with it all, because I don't want to let it be forgotten. Even if it's just me, just sitting in my dark room, just reading about it.
At least one person knows.
That's right. That's right.
If on that point as well, though, I've been listening to a guy who makes a podcast episode every single day, sometimes 2 episodes a day, about Jeffrey Epstein. His podcast is called The Jeffrey Epstein Show. His name's Bobby Capucci, and he's made a lot of content about this. His format seems to be read the news stories and comment on them and fill in the gaps that you wouldn't know if this is the first story that you've read about Jeffrey Epstein. So it's really useful. I listen to it in the morning. This is the latest update. I think it's really, really good. So I listen to that. I think if you're interested in this as much as the 3 of us are, then this is a place where you can go. Instead of reading news articles for 2 hours a day, you can listen to his half-hour show and you get all that information.
Yeah, do it on
expertise because he knows all of that stuff as well.
Yeah, do it on the drive to work or something. It's just your daily
Exactly.
Epstein
I've been listening
update.
to it. I've been listening to it every day for a few days, and I've been listening to old episodes as well. So it's been really helpful to
informative
put a lot of this stuff together because there's gaps that he's filling in that I don't know.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
really
and if you want a really good backstory, like where Epstein came from, who he is, his rise to power, all that sort of thing, highly recommend the Mysterious Mr. Epstein, which is a 6-part podcast series. Very well produced, very informative. So check that out as well.
All right. Oh, I guess that's
it. Again, thank you for
boys.
listening. BradIsABadPerson.com for all of our normal episodes. We'll be back to our regularly scheduled broadcasting in the new year.
Or we'll just become the Jeffrey Epstein podcast. We'll just do
That's right. If more information comes out, we're going to do another one of these. We're keeping up to date with this.
I personally think I look great in a tinfoil hat. So, don't know about you guys.
At this point, you're a conspiracy theorist if you believe that Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. Like, you're a crazy person if you think he committed suicide.